6 inches down, they found a human pelvis and everything completely stopped. Police were called, forensic testing. The whole site was shut down. That's not a true crime podcast. This is real property in Pierce County, and the archaeologist who was standing on that site is on camera in this video telling you exactly what happened. If you're buying vacant land in Washington State, or you already own land in Pierce County or Kitsap County and you're trying to build, this video is going to save you from some of the most expensive surprises in real estate right now. I'm Leanne Hall, real estate broker serving all of Western Washington. This is part 2 of the Cultural Resource Study series, but we're starting with what nobody leads up with. There are loopholes that I found out about, and I can't wait to share them. All right, before we get into the loopholes, there's something the county doesn't explain up front. Not every cultural review is a full excavation. There are 3 levels, and which one you land on changes everything. After my follow-up visit with the archaeologist, you'll see what I learned, and man, there is more and more layers to this. Here's what Pierce County doesn't put on that billboard. There are actually 3 classes of a cultural review, and most people assume they're automatically in the worst one. Class 1, desktop review only. An archaeologist will look at the records, they'll check out the maps, the historical data, and no one comes to your property, there's no shovel that's hitting that ground. And if the background research shows no known cultural resources in your disturbance area, that's it and you're done. All right, class 2, you get this field testing required. This is the shovel test survey you're going to see on camera in a few minutes. You're going to see background research is flagged somehow, and now they have to go out and physically test the soil. All right, and class 3, the one no one wants. There are definitely significant resources confirmed. A DAHP site alteration permit is now required on top of everything else you have to do. This is truly the most significant, expensive, complicated path. So most properties don't start at class 3. Many don't even make it past class 1. But nobody's telling buyers that. So they hear cultural resource study and they assume they're about to spend about $50,000. Maybe or maybe not. It really depends on when your desktop review finds, and honestly, for us going through this over this period of time, we've learned a lot that I wish somebody would have told us from the county up front. All right, let's get to the loopholes. This is the part I honestly wanted to share with everyone because you've heard my spiel maybe in part 1 about this, but there are loopholes and they're legitimate. There's legal ways to build on your land without triggering this process at all. Loophole number 1, no permit, no cultural review. So the cultural review requirement is in Pierce County, and it's tied directly to the permitting process. The ordinance applies to, quote, all land use and development requiring an approval or permit. So if your project doesn't require a county permit, you may not need a cultural review at all. All right, here's some of the best things I learned on our last visit. This is where it gets pretty useful. Because Pierce County has a specific list of structures that don't require a building permit, well, if it doesn't require a permit, guess what? It's likely not going to trigger that cultural review either. So let me give you the actual list of what's not going to trigger it. So obviously storage sheds and tool sheds up to about 200 square feet, 1 story. If they're not heated and they're at least 3 feet from your property line, guess what? No permits required. Another one that will not trigger it is fences up to 6 feet high. Obviously, you're not having a building permit. So decks, sidewalks, and driveways not more than 30 inches above grade and not over. You can't have them over a basement or a floor below. You're not needing a permit. Okay, some of the other things, retaining walls under 4 feet in height. They're measuring from the bottom of the footing. As long as they're not holding back like a slope or a surcharge, you don't need a permit. Water tanks sitting directly on grade under about 5,000, you won't require a permit. Not sure if this helps, but self-contained hot tubs and spas entirely above ground, not connected to your portable water, or they're not on septic. Obviously, you're not going to need a permit. All right, so these are no-brainers, but here's the big one for everyone with a larger rural parcel. If you own 5 acres or more and your land is zoned for agricultural use, you can put on an agricultural structure up to 600 square feet with no building permit. So a barn, an animal shelter, equipment storage, up to 2 of these structures per parcel. Now, here's the important caveat. No permit doesn't mean no rules. All of these structures still have to meet like setback requirements. They still have to be built to code, and some parcels have additional overlays. Obviously, you've got your shoreline requirements, your wetlands, your critical areas. That adds to their own requirements, obviously, on top of this. So even though I'm telling you this, I would always verify this with the county before you build. But what my point is there's more you can do on that land than you think before you ever even trigger this process. Okay, let's go into loophole number 2. Don't break ground past 6 inches. So 6 inches, that's the practical threshold. Once you're excavating past that 6 inch of topsoil into native undisturbed ground, then you've got different rules, right? But both structures that sit on top of the ground without significant excavation are in a different category entirely. Look up online the type of structures that you can put that you don't have to go below 6 inches. All right, now I hear the container home skepticism. It's not realistic for most people, but the principle matters for outbuildings, accessory structures, raised platforms. There's certain ADU configurations as well that you can do. So at this point, I would talk to your architect before you pull permits. That conversation could save you from triggering something you didn't see coming up. Okay, loophole number 3, and this one's free. Pull the pre-assessment report before you make an offer. Pierce County has a pre-assessment report. It's going to cover your shoreline setbacks, your zoning overlays, your critical areas, and it does mention the cultural review if you look on it. It's about 3 lines that they'll cover. 3 lines out of the whole document is where they talk about it. But those 3 little lines will tell you whether your parcel is in a high sensitivity area before you go even under contract. Most buyers don't even ask for this report, and most agents don't know it even exists. And there's one more tool that almost no one uses. It's called the WISAARD. So it stands for the Washington Information System for Architectural and Archaeology Records Data. It's a free public database run by the State Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation. So on this, you can look up any parcel in Washington State and see if there are any recorded archaeology sites nearby. That will definitely tell you if you're going to get triggered. So before you make that offer, before you even hire anyone for free, I'm going to put the link in the description. The permit is the trigger. So understand what your project needs a permit for before you finalize your design. That one conversation could change your whole calculation of what you're about to spend. All right, so I shared with you a few loopholes. Now let me show you what happens when you're already in the process, because a lot of people watching this are past this point of, hey, I could have made this different. So if you're already past those loopholes, you've started the permit process, they're telling you a study's required. I am in this situation right here. This is what the process actually looks like. So I grabbed some footage of the dig in Pierce County the other day because I wanted you to see it. We're going through it, so I felt I need to share this with you so you can really see what you're about to have. Okay, what you're looking at in this shovel test survey is it's a standard 40 centimeters by 4 centimeters, and then you go down 50 centimeters deep or until you're hitting that native undisturbed soil. This is all done by hand, not by machine. So that's the part that keeps landowners up. You can do everything right, class 1 cleared, and then the excavator hits something on day 1 of your foundation pour. Which is why, and this is really important, even when your cultural study comes back clean, you may still be required to have monitoring of the archaeologist on site during construction the whole time your foundation is going in at around $165 an hour. And there's something else that applies to every single project, even the ones that come back completely clean. It's called an Inadvertent Discovery Plan. An IDP is a written document that tells your contractor exactly what to do the moment anything is found during construction. Stop work, you secure the area, they give you who to call, in what order. It's required for every single project. Class 1 through Class 3, even if your desktop review found nothing. So what this means practically, your general contractor needs to know this plan exists and needs to have it on site. Not in a folder at your office, but they actually have to have it in sight. So if your GC doesn't even know what an IDP is, that's a problem. I would probably start looking for another contractor. You definitely need to solve this before construction starts. And here's where we get really specific. And what they find determines everything. It determines the rules about what's about to happen, and it's gonna surprise you. Let's talk about what they actually find and what each one means for your timeline and your budget. As I was talking with him, I said, worked animal bones, which I learned, those are bones that show signs of being cracked by a tool or processed for food. Now that's a totally different conversation. So what that means is someone was eating here, and that's going to change your complete site classification. Okay, so then I asked, what about human remains? Obviously, everything is going to stop. So under Washington state law, and I mean actual Washington state law, the moment you find human remains, during construction, all work must cease immediately. So the county medical examiner is now going to take jurisdiction. Law enforcement is obviously notified. And then you've got the anthropologist. He comes and makes a determination of what happened. And here's the piece that doesn't get talked about enough. Knowingly disturbing a native Indian grave in Washington state is a Class C felony. Not a fine, it's actually a felony. That's why the case that the archaeologist mentioned, where a pipeline crew in another state dug up burials and left bones on the surface, became a massive legal situation, because those are the stakes there. Now, what happens to what they find? Not just human remains, artifacts, stone tools, grindstones, things your soil just happens to contain from 1,000 years ago. Some counties in Washington will let you just keep what's found on your own property. Pierce County, absolutely not. That's a county and tribal decision. They could come back later and retrieve it if they want it. It stays in the ground, or it will go to them, even when it's on your land, even when you paid for the study, and even if you found it. This is the mechanism that turns a manageable study into a financial nightmare, and they're saying this is completely by the book. When they find something, and I mean anything, they don't just note it and move on. They actually are going to start digging radial holes. You're going to do 5-meter radius around that find. Holes in every single direction. If those holes find more, guess what? More radials around each of those. And if those finds find more, now you're classified as this cultural center. Did people live in here in mass numbers? In Western Washington, on the water, near the sound? What do you think the answer is? Of course people lived here. Now that's been acknowledged by everyone, including the archaeologist here on camera. But the study has to happen anyways because the county needs the data. And the landowner, guess what? You're going to pay for it. $15,000, not done. And we're going to have monitoring during foundation excavation. Pierce County requires monitoring during all ground disturbances for any project that was triggered a Class 2 or 3 review. That's an archaeologist that's just standing on your job site at around, again, $165 an hour for the entire duration of that foundation pour. Now, here's a number from the Moss-Benect Act that puts this in perspective. For larger projects, anything over $50,000, the industry standard for cultural resource mitigation costs is roughly 1% of your total project costs. So on a $500,000 build, that's about $5,000 minimum just for mitigation, before monitoring, before the study itself. And monitoring during that excavation is completely separate. It's on top of that. The realistic total for a project like this in Class 2 or 3 in Pierce County right now is about $40,000 to $50,000. This is not a rumor. This is what I watched happen on a real property here in Pierce County. And here's one more thing we're not even talking about. Time. Once a Class 2 or 3 review is triggered, Pierce County notifies DHHP, the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, that DHHP gets 30 days to review the comments. Then guess what? Each tribe with interests in that area gets 30 days to review and comment separately. There are multiple federally recognized tribes with treaty rights in Pierce County. If several are notified and their comment periods stack, you're looking at months of waiting before you even get a determination, while your project is just sitting there. And try this on, let's say you're the buyer. You're asking the seller to pause for that long? Here's the best part that I found out. Not every county in Washington is going to handle this the same way. Two are significantly more aggressive right now, and here's why. Lovely Pierce County enacted this ordinance on September 2nd of 2025, I believe. Not in January, it was 9 months ago. And the communication to landowners, buyers, sellers, and agent has actually been non-existent. I've never heard of it before this moment. No one in my brokerage has heard of it. And the other brokerage on the other side of this deal has never heard of this. So Pierce County, Kitsap, they're super aggressive right now. I guess I'm told a reason here. They're saying, hey, when burial sites are disturbed and nobody's reporting this is what's starting to tighten these regulations, and everyone's now paying for it. Here's the weird part. So a contractor in another state digs up human remains. Okay, he leaves the bones on the surface. He doesn't call in anything like that. He doesn't document it. And now every landowner in Pierce County pays for it through this ordinance they've never even heard about that was passed 9 months ago with no communication to anyone from the county. Even a licensed attorney I know has never even heard of this until I brought it up. Now, that's not criticism. This is a 9-month ordinance with almost no outreach, is what I'm trying to say. But it's exactly why I'm putting this video out there. So does Pierce County realize what they're actually doing to property values here? I don't think they fully thought through what happens when enough buyers figure this out and just start buying in other counties, Mason County, Thurston County, somewhere else entirely, because they don't want to deal with this crap. When something is found on your property, here's exactly what happens next, because nobody's drawing the chain out. The archaeologist finds something. They're then going to report it to Pierce County. County notifies DAHP and 30 days to review. County notifies each tribe. Another 30 days on each tribe to respond to county. County relays that back to the archaeologist, and then the archaeologist tells you. So I've laid out the whole chain there. Every handoff, the clock is running. The monitoring hourly rate doesn't stop while your emails are going back and forth between county officers and tribal representatives. It's really just such a simple system, isn't it? I love this guy. That's the real estate reality here. Most buyers will not wait out an extended cultural study process. The minute you tell a buyer their closing is on hold because the county, guess what, is consulting with the tribal representatives about a stone they found 6 inches underground, most buyers are taken off. Which means if you are a seller with vacant land in Pierce County or Kitsap County right now, you need to know about this before you list, not after you're under contract. Feel free to contact me. Now that I've gone through this, I definitely would approach this with a different strategy with my sellers. All right, guys, here's your action list for all you buyers, your sellers, landowners, whatever. I'm going to give you this list here. So if you are a buyer considering buying vacant land in Pierce County or Kitsap County, number 1, run your parcel through that WISAARD first, free public database. Link is in the description, like I said. See if there are any recorded archaeology sites anywhere near your property before you make that offer. 2, pull the pre-assessment report from Pierce County before you go under contract. Don't hold that seller up in a contract while you figure that out. It's free through the county. It tells you if your parcels overlays the shoreline, the critical areas, your cultural sensitivity. Ask your agent for it. This is their job. If they don't know what it is, give me a call. I'll help them or help you. Now 3, understand which class of review you're likely in once you've seen that. A desktop review is not the same as that full excavation. Ask the county archaeologist early on what level they think it is. That one conversation is going to pretty much orientate your whole timeline and budget. And 4, let's price the study into your offer. If the seller has already completed a cultural resource study and it came back clean, that has tons of value. You don't have to do it again, so negotiate accordingly. Okay, let's go to the sellers. If you've got vacant land in Pierce County, number 1, if you've already done a cultural study and spent money on it, that is truly a selling point I would make sure to put in your marketing remarks. Market the heck out of this. A buyer stepping into a parcel with a completed study and now you've got this clean result is dramatically better position than somebody obviously starting at ground zero. And number 2, if you haven't done that study yet and you're planning to list, consider whether doing maybe the Class 1 desktop review first gives you that cleaner listing. A few $1,000s up front could prevent a deal from falling apart under contract, or you might think they're probably going to negotiate this, so I should price it a bit higher, which is probably what we would have done if we knew this. Number 3, know your price. So if that land has already gone through this study and you spent $15,000 to $50,000, let's say, that money belongs in your asking price. You got to price it in. Don't absorb that cost. So for all you landowners, you own it now and you're trying to build. Number 1, talk to your architect before you talk to the county. Understand which elements of your project are going to require the permit, because the ones that don't trigger the cultural resort, maybe design around that first. Number 2, consider the permit-exempt structures. I mean, maybe it's not for everybody, but I just listed everything that could work that way. So let's say you feel like you're stuck with land that now is not usable. You have an option. I mean, you could put a fence up, you could put a shed up, you could put decks up if they're under 60 inches, agricultural structures on 5-acre parcels. Build what you can without triggering this process, maybe while the study's underway. And number 3, make sure you hire your archaeologist before you submit your permits, not after. An archaeologist who is brought in early can actually help you design the project to minimize ground disturbance in sensitive areas. So they right there could take you from like a Class 2 down to a Class 1. That's super significant in costs. And number 4, make sure your general contractor has that inadvertent discovery plan on site before day 1 of ground disturbance. It is completely required, and if something is found and your contractor doesn't do it by protocol, guess what? You actually have the legal problem on top of a construction problem. And if the land is genuinely shut down, study done, findings extensive, building is not going to happen, you can approach the tribe directly and ask if they want to purchase it. That's what I would do. I'd be like, you just made my land completely unusable. It's a real conversation. It is happening. Some tribes have the resources to maybe buy it. The data Pierce County is collecting through these studies benefits the whole county, the tribes, the historical records, everyone. But right now, one family, one landowner is funding this information that serves actually the entire region. That needs to change. And the people who are going to change this are the landowners who actually are going to the county meetings and fighting this. The realtors who are bringing this up, they need to speak for this as well and educate your buyers. Make sure your buyers are asking questions. Make sure your sellers know this up front. And go to the county, complain, because it's ridiculous. So if you're buying vacant land in Western Washington, specifically in Pierce County, Kitsap County, do not make an offer without understanding this process first. I've told many in my video before, I have a free relocation guide that covers what you need to know before you buy in this market. I would definitely go onto that WISAARD link. I do the Pierce County pre-assessment report process. These are both referenced inside the video here, and the link is, like I told you, it's going to be in the description. You have a specific piece of land that you're looking at right now, or you own land and you're trying to figure out what your options actually are, reach out to me directly. My number is in bio, 253-853-6200. This is exactly the kind of thing that I help people navigate before it becomes a 6-figure problem. All right, guys, I am Leanne Hall with Paramount Real Estate Group. I serve all of Western Washington, Gig Harbor, Port Orchard, Tacoma. anywhere in Western Washington. If you liked this video, hit that like button or subscribe. Also, check out my previous video on this. It will definitely educate you on the beginning process of this. I'm here to help in any way, so feel free to reach out. I answer every single question here myself. No robots, it's me. Would love to chat with you. Thanks again for joining me today. Have a good one.